Welcome back. In today's class, we will see how to analyze a multi-stage impulse steam turbine. So here, for the simplicity of analysis, we are considering two-stage velocity compounded impulse steam turbine, which is also known as Curtis turbine. So Curtis turbine has two sets of moving blades mounted on the same shaft. So you have the nozzle, then you have the first row of moving blade, then you have the fixed blade, and at the end you have the another row of moving blade. So in the last class we have seen about the compounding and have seen that there are three types of compounding. The first one is velocity compounding, where all the pressure energy will be converted into kinetic energy in the nozzle itself. So as the steam passes through the moving blades, as the steam passes through different sets of moving blades, the kinetic energy of the steam will be absorbed by each row of moving blade. So that is velocity compounding. Then we have pressure compounding. In the case of pressure compounding, we have a nozzle at the beginning where a part of the pressure energy gets converted into kinetic energy, then that will be absorbed by the moving blade just after the nozzle, and then we will have the fixed blades which will have aerofoil shape, which also acts as nozzle. So the remaining part of pressure energy gets converted into velocity or kinetic energy, and that gets absorbed by the consecutive moving blade. Then we have the combination of velocity compounding and pressure compounding, which we called it as pressure velocity compounding, where we have two Curtis stages one after the other, where the pressure energy will be converted into kinetic energy partially in the first stage of Curtis turbine and in the second stage of Curtis turbine. Okay, these are the different methods of compounding. So in that, the first one was velocity compounding, and the Curtis turbine is an example for two-stage velocity compounded impulse steam turbine. So here we have the flow of steam, the flow path of steam. So the steam comes out of the nozzle. Here all the pressure energy gets converted into kinetic energy, and high velocity jet of steam comes out of the nozzle, and that comes with an velocity, absolute velocity V1, and it is coming out of the nozzle with an angle alpha 1, where alpha 1 is the outlet angle of the nozzle relative to the moving blade or the direction of the motion of the blade, and u is the rotational speed of the blade, and u is common for both the rows of moving blade, because here we are dealing with a velocity compounded impulse turbine where both the moving blades will be mounted on the same shaft. So since we have same shaft, the rotational speed of the blades will be same, so the tangential speed of the blade will also remain same, u remain same, and we are dealing with impulse turbine. All gas turbines are axial flow turbines. So if this is the axis, the bulk of the steam flows parallel to the axis of the turbine. So because of that, the steam enters and leaves the turbine stages at the same radius. So for that reason, here u remains same, so for all the cases. Okay, then there is the velocity at the inlet V1, and alpha 1 is the angle of the nozzle or the angle of the steam. So then the steam passes through the first row of moving blade. So the blade is moving in this direction. This is the direction of motion of the blade. Then some part of the kinetic energy will be absorbed by the blade, and the remaining steam enters the fixed blade. The steam is leaving the moving blade with a relative velocity of Vr2. So whenever we are dealing with moving blades, for us relative velocity and the angle made by the relative velocity beta is very important. Whenever we are dealing with the fixed blade, then the absolute velocity and the angle made by the absolute velocity is very important, because there is no relative velocity in the case of fixed blade. Since the blade is fixed, it's not moving with respect to the steam. Because of that, there will be no relative velocity, and all the velocity which we have to consider is the absolute velocity of the steam itself. But when it comes to moving blade, the blade is moving with certain velocity and the steam is moving with some other velocity. So because of that, there will be relative velocity between the moving blade and the steam. So since we have relative velocity, that is the major point or major velocity which needs to be considered when we are dealing with moving blades. So steam leaves the first row of moving blade with relative velocity Vr2 and absolute velocity V2, and angle alpha 2 is the inlet angle of the blade and beta 2 is the outlet angle of the moving blade. So alpha 2 is the inlet blade angle of the fixed blade. Okay. Then the steam, here we are dealing with fixed blade, no change in energy because there is no work done or energy absorbed by the blade. So the steam glides over the moving blade and the direction of the steam changes. Now the steam comes out of the fixed blade with absolute velocity V3 and angle at an angle of alpha 3. Okay, that enters the last row of moving blade. And one thing which we need to consider here, whenever you are designing the Curtis turbine, if you want to achieve optimum energy utilization, then when the steam comes out of the second stage of the moving blade, the steam should be axial in direction or it should have minimum velocity. Now the steam is entering with absolute velocity V3 and angle alpha 3, and as it passes through the moving blade absorbs the remaining kinetic energy and the steam comes out with relative velocity Vr4 at an angle beta 4, and the absolute velocity will be V4 at an angle of alpha 4. Okay. There is the motion of steam through the two stages of the Curtis turbine. Now let us see the velocity triangle for this case, the combined velocity triangle, and for the optimum value of utilization or the optimum value of blade efficiency. So as we have discussed from the module 2, to achieve optimum velocity we need to reduce the carryover losses, and the carryover losses will be minimum when the steam is leaving the turbine in the axial direction. Okay, that point needs to be remembered while constructing the velocity triangle. And since we have two stages here, so this is the first stage. The nozzle and the first row of moving blade is stage 1 or the first stage, then the fixed blade and the last row of moving blade is the second stage. So we cannot write velocity triangle for the first stage and second stage at the same location, so that will confuse us a lot. So what we do is we write velocity triangle for the first stage and below that we write velocity triangle for the second stage. If you have multi stages, you have to use the same method. First you need to draw the velocity triangle for the first stage, then for the second stage, then for the third stage. That should be one below the other. And since u remains constant for the first stage as well as for the second stage, so that should be taken as reference while drawing the velocity triangle for the first, second or any number of stages. So here we are dealing with only two stages, so we have two different velocity triangles. So first let us see the velocity triangle for the first stage. So this is the velocity triangle for the first stage. So here we have V1, so the steam is coming out of the nozzle with absolute velocity V1 and angle alpha 1 with respect to u. Then we have Vr1 here with angle beta 1. This is the standard velocity triangle which you have to follow whenever you are drawing any velocity triangle. V1 can be resolved into horizontal as well as vertical component. Vertical component is Vf1, horizontal component from here till the end is Vu1. Then the steam comes out of the moving blade, first moving blade with a velocity, relative velocity Vr2 and angle beta 2, and the absolute velocity will be V2 and angle alpha 2. And one more thing which you need to remember is Vr1 should be equal to Vr2 because we are dealing with impulse turbine. If it is a reaction turbine, then Vr1 and Vr2 will not be same, but for impulse turbine there is no change in static component, so Vr1 and Vr2 will be same. So the angles should be same and the length of Vr1 and Vr2 should be same. So whenever you are drawing velocity triangle, you need to remember you should keep the angle beta 1 and beta 2 same, and the length VR1 and VR2 should be same. Then we have V2, and V2 can be divided into vertical component and horizontal component. Vertical component is VF2, horizontal component is VU2, and the change in the tangential component will be, I will call it as delta VU1. Since we are dealing with the first stage, I will call it as delta VU1. Okay, then we need to draw the velocity triangle for the second stage, and to draw that, first we need to project U. So to project U, I will draw two vertical lines, and at a convenient distance I will draw a horizontal line, that is for length of U, and after that I will draw V3. And one more thing which you need to remember is, since we have a fixed blade here, there is no absorption of energy by the fixed blade because there is no motion, and since there is no motion, there is no work done, and because of that V2, we are dealing with fixed blade, so it should be absolute velocity. So V2 will be equal to V3 and alpha 2 will be equal to alpha 3. So that is very much needed to draw the second velocity triangle, that is V2 will be equal to V3 and alpha 2 will be equal to alpha 3. Without this relation, we cannot relate the first and the second stage velocity triangles, and we will not be able to draw it. So now we can draw this. Now we know U. So U we have projected from the first velocity triangle or first stage velocity triangle. Then I know V3 and alpha 3. I will draw this line and then I will join the free ends of U and V3. That will give me VR3. Once I draw this, then I will split the V3 into vertical and horizontal component, and I will complete the inlet velocity triangle for the second stage. So I will complete this. Now I need to draw the outlet velocity triangle for the second stage, and here also we are dealing with impulse turbine, which means to say that there is no change in static component, and V3, the length of V3 should be equal to length of V4, and the angle beta 3 should be equal to beta 4. So you need to remember this. Please, if you don't understand, go through the video again. So if you understand these concepts, then only you will be able to solve problems in Curtis turbine or any multi-stage turbines. So V3 should be equal to V4 and beta 3 should be equal to beta 4. And we also know that V4, which is the outlet velocity here, that should be minimum to achieve maximum blade efficiency or maximum utilization factor. So to achieve maximum blade efficiency, V4 should be minimum, and that we have seen in the general analysis that the outlet velocity, the absolute velocity at the outlet will be minimum when it is axial in direction. So because since V4 should be axial, so V4 as well as VF4 will coincide, and this becomes alpha 4. So alpha 4 will be 90 degree in this case, and from here till here when you join, you will get V4. So this completes the construction of the velocity triangle for the first stage and the second stage. So this is the second stage velocity triangle. Now since we have two stages, we have work done for the first stage, which I will call it as W1, and we have work done for the second stage, I will call it as W2, and the total work done by the Curtis turbine or two-stage impulse steam turbine will be, I will call it as WT, which will be equal to W1 plus W2. That is the sum of work done by the first stage and work done by the second stage. So here the horizontal distance between VF4 and VF3, I will call it as delta VU2. If you remember, since V4 is vertical, it does not have any horizontal component, so VU4 will be 0. So delta VU2 will be equal to VU3. Okay. So now let us find out W1 and W2, and then the total work, then substitute that in the blade efficiency equation and find out the condition for optimum blade efficiency. Okay, I will start with W1. For the first stage, W1 is given by U into delta VU1. So if you remember, the Euler's equation states that energy transfer or work done will be given by, work done per unit mass will be given by U into VU1 plus or minus VU2, which we call it as delta VU. But since we are dealing with multiple stages, here for the first stage I will call it as delta VU1. And from the inlet velocity triangle, as we have done for the single stage, I can write delta VU1 as the sum of these two components, x and y. So this is my x and y. So delta VU1 can be written as x plus y, and x I can write it in terms of VR1. So that is VR1 cos beta 1, and y will be VR2 cos beta 2. So W1 will be equal to U into VR1 cos beta 1 plus VR2 cos beta 2. And we know that for an impulse turbine, VR1 will be equal to VR2 if there are no losses, and beta 1 is equal to beta 2. So in place of VR2 cos beta 2, I can write it as U into VR1 cos beta 1 plus VR1 cos beta 1, because VR1 will be equal to VR2 and beta 1 is equal to beta 2 for an impulse steam turbine. Then I can write this as 2 times of U into VR1 cos beta 1. Now I need to express VR1 in terms of V1, because I will be knowing V1 and alpha 1. So now I need to express x in terms of this length. So I will call this as z. So x will be equal to z minus u, where z is horizontal component of V1, that is V1 cos alpha 1. So in place of VR1 cos beta 1, I can write it as 2 into u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus u, and I will call this as equation A. So this is W1, that is the work done in the first stage of the Curtis turbine. Now for the second stage, W2 will be equal to U into delta VU2, that is the difference in the tangential component at the inlet and exit of the second stage. So this I can write it as, again I can divide this into A and B. So this is my B and this is A, this entire length. So A can be written as horizontal component of VR3 and B can be written as horizontal component of VR4, and we also know that VR3 and VR4 are same because we are dealing with impulse turbine. So U into delta VU can be written as VR3 cos beta 3, that is the horizontal component of VR3, then VR4 cos beta 4. And similar to the first case, we know that VR3 is equal to VR4 and cos beta 3 is equal to cos beta 4, or beta 3 is equal to beta 4. So I will directly write it as 2 into U into VR3 cos beta 3. Okay, the equation is similar to this equation. Now I need to express VR3 cos beta 3, that is A, in terms of V3. Again, so that can be written as VR3 cos beta 3 will be equal to horizontal component of V3, that is V3 cos alpha 3 minus U. So I will write it here. So it is 2 into U into V3 cos alpha 3 minus u, that is W2. Now these two equations are unrelated. Now we need to relate them. So what I have to do is I need to express V3 cos alpha 3 in terms of the first stage velocity components. So to do that, I know that since we are dealing with impulse stage in the velocity compounding and we are dealing with fixed blade here, so V2 should be equal to V3 and alpha 2 should be equal to alpha 3. So that is what we have stated while drawing the first stage and second stage velocity triangles. So I will use this. In place of V3 I will write it as V2, in place of alpha 3 I will write it as alpha 2. So W2 will be equal to 2u into V2 cos alpha 2 minus u. Now V2 cos alpha 2 is this length. From here till here it is V2 cos alpha 2. But I need to express V2 in terms of V1. Directly we cannot do that. So what I will do is I will express this length in terms of VR2 beta 2, and I know that VR2 is equal to VR1 and beta 2 is equal to beta 1. So I can replace them and I can easily relate VR1 with V1. We have already done that. So here in place of V2 cos alpha 2, that is this length, I will write it as the horizontal component of VR2. So that is VR2 cos beta 2 minus u. Okay. So in the place of V2 cos alpha 2, I will write it as 2u into VR2 cos beta 2 minus u. This is V2 cos alpha 2 minus u, which is present here. So this is this one. Now we have minus 2u here. So I will write it as 2u into VR2 cos beta 2 minus 2u. Now I know that VR2 is equal to VR1 and beta 2 is equal to beta 1. So I will directly write W2 will be equal to 2u into VR1 cos beta 1 minus 2u. Now I know that VR1 cos beta 1 is x and x should be expressed in terms of V1 cos alpha 1. So if I want to write that, then x will be equal to V1 cos alpha 1 minus u. So I will do that here, 2u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus u, that is this thing is these two terms, minus 2u, I will write it as it is. So now I can write W2 will be equal to 2u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus 3u. I call this as equation B. Now I have expressed W1, that is the work done by the first stage, and W2, that is the work done by the second stage, in terms of V1 and alpha 1, because we will be knowing those values. So now I will find out the total work done. So Wt will be equal to W1 plus W2. W2 will be equal to W1 plus W2, and W1 will get it from equation A, that is 2u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus u, and W2 will get it equation B here, that is plus 2u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus 3u. In both the equations we have 2u as common, so I will take it out. So Wt will be equal to 2u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus u plus V1 cos alpha 1 minus 3u. Now I will simplify this. So we will get 2u into 2 times of V1 cos alpha 1 minus 4 times of u. We have minus u minus 3u, it becomes minus 4u. Now we have 2 and 4 here, so I will take 2 out of this, so I will get 4u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus 2u. This is the equation for work done, the total work done from the 2 stages of the Curtis turbine or velocity compounded impulse turbine. So Wt will be equal to this, and this is for 2 stages, and if I want to write the general work done equation, then Wt can be written as 2n into u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus n into u, where n represent number of stages, where n represents the number of stages. If we have only one stage, then if I replace 2 by 1, I will get 2u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus u. If you remember the first single stage, that is the equation for work done. If it is a 2 stage, I will write 2 here, so it becomes 4u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus 2u, that is the equation which we have got here. If it is 3 stage, in place of n you have to write 3. So this is the work done equation. So I will call this as equation C, this equation as equation C, I will be using that. So remember that. Now we will see the equation for efficiency. We had seen that the total work done for 2 stages was given by 4u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus 2u, and we called it that as equation number 3, sorry, equation C. Now let us write the equation for blade efficiency. Blade efficiency eta B is given by work done, the total work done divided by the inlet. So here the inlet energy, we are dealing with impulse turbine, you need to remember this. Whenever we are dealing with impulse turbine, the inlet energy will be only the kinetic energy of the fluid. So inlet energy will be absolute velocity squared by 2. This is per unit mass of the steam. So it is V1 square by 2. So in place of Wt, I will substitute this from equation C, that is 4u into V1 cos alpha 1 minus 2u, everything divided by V1 square by 2. So here 2 is in the denominator of the denominator, it goes to the numerator and gets multiplied with 4. So we will get eta B will be equal to 8u divided by, I will write, we have V1 square here, that is V1 multiplied by V1. So I will write 1 V1 here multiplied by V1 cos alpha 1 minus 2u divided by V1. Okay, so in the denominator we have V1 multiplied by V1, so we have V1 square. So now I know that u by V1 is speed ratio, that is 5. So eta B will be equal to 8 into 5 multiplied by V1 by V1 get cancels. So cos alpha 1 minus 2 into V1 by, sorry, u by V1 is 5. So this is the equation for blade efficiency. Now we need to optimize this. So before optimizing, what I will do is I will write this as 8 into 5 cos alpha 1 minus 2 phi squared. So this is the blade efficiency eta B, and we need to optimize this with respect to the speed ratio, keeping whatever terms, other terms are there as constant. So here alpha 1 I will keep it as constant. Then if I differentiate this, so d eta B divided by d phi should be equal to 0. So now let us differentiate this. So if I differentiate this term with respect to phi, 8 is constant, I will keep it as it is. So phi into cos alpha 1, differentiation of that with respect to phi is cos alpha 1 minus, I have 2 here, I will write as it is. Differentiation of phi square with respect to phi is into 2 phi. Okay, so we will get 8 into cos alpha 1 minus 4 phi, that should be equal to 0. 8 cannot be equal to 0. So if this has to be true, then this term should be equal to 0. So cos alpha 1 minus 4 phi should be equal to 0, or phi should be equal to cos alpha 1 divided by 4. Or generally it can be written as cos alpha 1 divided by 2 into n, where n is the number of stages. Now we know the condition for maximum blade efficiency, that is phi should be equal to cos alpha 1 divided by 4. Now let us substitute phi in this equation and get the equation for maximum blade efficiency. So eta B max will be equal to 8 into, in place of phi I need to draw, sorry, in place of phi I need to write cos alpha 1 by 4. So cos alpha 1 divided by 4 multiplied by cos alpha 1 minus 2 times of phi. So there again cos alpha 1 divided by 2, sorry, cos alpha 1 divided by 4, that is the condition for maximum utilization. So here we have 1s and 2s, here we have 1 and 2s. So we are left with 2 cos alpha 1 into cos alpha 1 minus cos alpha 1 by 2. So when I subtract these two, I will get cos alpha 1 by 2. So I have 2 into cos alpha 1 multiplied by cos alpha 1 divided by 2. This 2 and this 2 will get cancelled. So the equation for maximum blade efficiency is cos square alpha 1. If you remember the maximum blade efficiency equation for single stage steam turbine, that was also cos square alpha 1. So this is the equation for maximum blade efficiency. Now let us substitute the condition in the work done equation and find out the maximum work done. So Wt max will be equal to 4u into, we don't have phi here, so in place of alpha 1, so if I take this, alpha 1 can be written as 4 phi, 4 times of the phi, phi is u by v1. So in place of cos alpha 1, I will write it as 4 times of u by v1 minus 2u. So v1 and v1 will get cancelled. Now we have 4u minus 2u, so we have 2u and multiplied by 4u, so we have Wt max as 8 times of u squared, or this can be written as 2 into n square u square. So Wt max will be equal to 2 into n square into u square, where n is the number of stages. So this completes the derivation of optimum blade efficiency equation or condition for a Curtis turbine or a two-stage velocity compounded impulse turbine. So we are not dealing with pressure compounding here, it is only velocity compounded impulse turbine. Thank you.